Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Feels like all things are right in the world. You know, grass is green, water is wet. CM Punk is back in the WWE, and Tennessee is back to beating up on Vanderbilt. Took care of business last night. Senior day for Tennessee, 48-24 over Vanderbilt. What a great way to send out Joe Milton. Jalen Wright gets his 1,000-yard season. Man, when you look at the grand scheme of things, nobody wanted to go 8-4 in year 3 under Josh Heupel. We all expected more. I think most of us had Tennessee at 9-3, had a few toss-up games out there. You hate the way things turned out against Florida. I think Missouri was a lot better than some of us realized. But the bottom line is when you sit back and you look at where Tennessee is at in just year 3, we were saying this was a 6-year rebuild. Tennessee still has a long way to go. They got to continue to build depth. You know, we talked about yesterday how so many of the guys on this football team are either 6-year seniors or they're freshmen and sophomores. You got to continue to rebuild and flip this roster, and I think Josh Heupel is doing a great job of that. But if you had told me prior to Josh Heupel arriving, if you told me a few years ago, hey, you know, this guy's going to come in, you're going to go 7-5, you're going to go win 11 games in year 2, you're going to step back a little bit in year 3, have an opportunity to go 9-4 after the bowl game, I think I would have signed up for that 10 out of 10 times, and I think we continue to move forward. We continue to see the growth of this program. I'm excited about the future. Let's check in. Jump into the comments. Let me know where you're at on Josh Heupel after the regular season of year 3 is over. Excuse me, man, it's hard to believe. Hard to believe this year has flown by. It's been a great time. I appreciate the way that you guys support this channel. You can do that one last time. Help me out by smashing the thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, free, and easy. It helps this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't talk at you. We talk with you. This channel is built on fans. This is for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. We'll be live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's the fan call-in show. That's where you guys get to come on, hang out. We'll talk all things Tennessee football. We'll recap this Vanderbilt game. We'll look ahead to the bowl game. Got tons of content coming your way throughout the week. We'll be live Monday morning with Eric Kane. Tuesday night playing NCAA football. Going to continue to bring recruiting coverage, transfer coverage, transfer portal coverage, all that type of stuff right here. So stay dialed in throughout the offseason. But let's jump into it. We've had a night to sleep on it. Not a whole lot of emotions in this one outside of a brawl. We can get into that and discuss it, but this is the day after Tennessee and Vanderbilt. I guess let's start with the brawl. That the fight is something we didn't really talk about last night, and, you know, it's right before halftime. Somehow the refs allow A.J. Swan to take 2 hits on a false start and a delay of game. And, you know, the one from Tyler Barron maybe was a little bit of a cheap shot. Bottom line is our guys are playing football. How in the world are you having a false start and a delay of game that you don't blow the whistle until guys are that far into the backfield? I mean, that second play stretched out for several seconds and no whistles are being blown. Clark Lee gets flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct. I don't put it on him, man. I put this all on the officiating crew for letting it get out of hand. You can't let that happen. Tyler Barron, Dominic Bailey get flagged for unsportsmanlike. A Vandy player gets flagged for unsportsmanlike. Bench is clear, which it's going to be interesting because the NCAA rule says that any player that clears the bench during a fight is suspended for the next game. If you go back and you watch the replay, Vandy's entire bench cleared. Everybody. There was not a single player left on that bench. Now, they're not going to go play in a bowl game because they're terrible. What do they do in 2024? Do they have to suspend guys in that first game? I don't know. We'll wait and see. I don't know that this is going to impact Tennessee in any way. I don't think anybody cleared their bench. But the bottom line is, again, that's on the officials. Excuse me. They've got to clean that up. You got to stop that. You can't let that go. But let's move forward. Let's talk a little football. It will be interesting to see if any suspensions come down from that. But you talk about football, again, Joe Milton, senior night, goes out, dominant performance. He's been a guy that's had this fan base, you know, separated the entire season. He's inconsistent. We knew that going into the year, and that's why I said I was going to grade Joe Milton on a week-by-week basis. And if you're going to grade him on his performance against Vanderbilt, first player since 2009 when Jonathan Crompton did it against Memphis to account for 6 touchdowns in a game, almost 400 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns, added 2 more on the ground. I think that's a pretty dominant performance. I'm happy to hear that the crowd, the fans in Neyland Stadium, gave him a nice ovation as he came through the tee for the final time. Joe Milton gave his all. Sometimes your all isn't good enough. Sometimes your all isn't elite, but Joe put in the work. Joe chose us. Joe chose Tennessee. So it's nice to see him go out on a good note. We got to see a little bit more Nico. I love the way Nico looks in the pocket, his pocket awareness. Same thing we saw against Connecticut, the same thing we saw in the orange and white game. When he's had limited appearance, he shows he has great pocket awareness. He's elusive. He can get out of the pocket, keeps his eyes downfield. Derek Mason, slip of the tongue during the broadcast, says, I don't know what it is. He just looks more comfortable running this offense. It looks more comfortable with Nico running the operation. That was straight from the broadcast. I think the future is in good hands. We saw his physicality. A lot of people in this fan base question Nico's size. Oh, he's too skinny. Needs to eat a cheeseburger. All the jokes, all the insults about how skinny Nico is. He showed physicality. Second, third, speed option. He decides to keep it himself, lowers his head, breaks a tackle, picks up the first down. I think we got a great quarterback on our hands in Nico Iamaleava. He's going to have the full bowl season of preparation again, which he got last year, right? He got that little taste as an early enrollee. Now he's going to get it again. The question is, does Joe Milton opt out and hand over the keys to Nico Iamaleava? I think that would be best for this football team. I think it would be best for Joe, and I think it would be best for Nico. Defensively, Tennessee started slow. They started slow. Vanderbilt came out, scored on that first drive, 4 plays, 73 yards, 3 straight first downs, and then a touchdown on the misdirection jet sweep. Following drives after that, this defense kind of dug in. 3 and out. They had a 4-play drive for 29 yards, which led to a punt. They had an 11-play drive that led to a field goal. Overall, I thought the defense played pretty well. Gave up some cheap points on the fumble by D. Williams down there inside the 10, and then you also had a touchdown in mop-up duty. But overall, I think this football team played pretty good, only gave up 300 yards. They were really good on third down. That's somewhere that this defense has struggled, is getting off the field on third down. You can see the stats there on the screen. Vanderbilt 3 of 12 on third down conversions last night. But again, the story for me is just the offense. Tennessee over 600 yards of total offense. Good to see Jalen Wright get to that 1,000 yards, man. I felt like early in the game they were just slinging the rock all over the field. You could tell it was going to be one of those games where Joe Milton played a good football game, and part of me kind of laughed in the postgame show last night. We were kind of saying, what was the game plan? Was the game plan to send Joe out on a high note? Because that's certainly what it felt like early. But Jalen Wright still gets 75 yards on 11 carries, averaging just like he has all year long, almost 7 yards per carry, gets over the 1,000-yard mark. Again, we discussed that in the postgame show. If you missed that, go back, give it a watch. Talks about how you can use that in recruiting, right? This football team uses a 3-man rotation. Coach Jay said he can still take that into the, recruiting, whether you're in-house or guys are visiting, say, look, yeah, we do have a healthy rotation of running backs, but look, we still got a 1,000-yard rusher in this offense. That is huge. You look ahead to 2024. Does Jalen Wright go off to the NFL? If so, Jabari Small has that COVID year. He can be a 6-year senior and join that running back room again with Dylan Sampson, with Cam Seldon. I think you've got another 3-headed monster going into 2024. You look at what the wide receivers were able to do. Again, seems to be the theme of the night, man. It was great to see Ramel Keaton make some plays. Had 4 catches, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving. Squirrel White, dominant performance. And I get it, they had some drops. Squirrel White still had 10 catches for 110 yards. Love seeing the tight ends get involved. Jacob Horn, McAllen Castles both had 3 catches, both had a touchdown. Man, Castles made some plays out there. And then you saw the young guys. You saw Chaz Nimrod. He's starting to come along. Caleb Webb starting to come along. People want to question the depth at the wide receiver position. These are young guys that have gotten better as the year has gone on, and now they're starting to make plays. You had to lean on them when Brew McCoy went down, when Dante Thornton went down. Some of these young kids stepped up. Chaz Nimrod, 4 catches, 37 yards last night. Caleb Webb, 3 catches for 22 yards. I just think, you're seeing some of these guys make plays. Again, I like seeing the tight ends get involved, and all this is happening. I understand it's Vanderbilt, right? It's Vanderbilt. You're favored by 4 touchdowns. They went out and did what they were supposed to do. That's the bottom line, and they did it with a patchwork offensive line. Ollie Lane is the only starter left in the game, and he had shifted from left guard to center. You had Jeremiah Crawford at left tackle. Addison Nichols got some run at guard, which is good for the future. Again, Ollie Lane at center, Jackson Lampley at right guard, and Dane Davis at right tackle. I mean, that's your second-string offensive line right there, and Tennessee's still going out there and putting up 600 yards on the board. It was good to see some young guys on defense. I'm excited to go and rewatch the game later today and see if I can pinpoint what some of those young guys did. Jeremiah T. Lander sticks out to me as a guy that was all over the field. Also, You had Ricky Gibson out there making a lot of plays. He played a lot of football and played a lot of football early. Of course, James Pierce continued to do James Pierce things. He lived in the backfield the entire night, and I love to see that because, again, going into this game, we said, hey, it's Vanderbilt. Go do what you're supposed to do against Vanderbilt, and that's exactly what Tennessee did last night. 48-24 was your final. I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on this season? Year 3 of the Josh Heupel era. How do you feel? Are you satisfied? Do you feel like we are moving in the right direction? Look, the last 2 weeks have been awful. Getting blown out by Missouri and Georgia, I get it. This fan base has been down in the dumps. This was a nice response going into the bowl game. Can we continue that momentum, continue developing some of this young talent, and continue to hit the transfer portal and hit the recruiting trail? And that's what we're going to be covering moving forward. So I appreciate the way you guys support this channel, whether you smash the thumbs up, whether you're a member of the channel. You can hit that join button down below. You can give as little as $1 a month. You can give more. We're getting ready to fire the watch parties back up. We're going to do a watch party for the SEC championship game, kind of like a fan call-in show where the watch party enthusiast here gets to come on, hang out. We'll watch that SEC championship game together. But I can't thank you guys enough. This has been the first season that this was my full-time job, is to provide content for you guys. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you to every single member of the channel. You're the ones that keep the light bill on. Again, you want to be a part of it, consider hitting that join button. Keep that membership up to date throughout the offseason. We're going to have tons of content coming your way. But that is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.